Hi viewers, welcome back to my class on heat transfer. In the previous class, we have derived three-dimensional heat conduction equation in Cartesian coordinates. Today, we will apply this equation for steady-state one-dimensional heat conduction through a material with constant thermal conductivity. Now, to find out the steady-state one-dimensional heat flow through a slab, consider a slab with thickness L and temperature T1 on left side and T2 on other side. So we have a constant temperature boundary condition on either side of the slab. Now to find out the heat flow and temperature variation through the slab when one-dimensional heat flow takes place, we are considering one-dimensional heat flow through this slab. So when you can say that flow is one-dimensional, when the temperature variation does not exist in the y direction and also in the z direction. So if you consider this phase of this slab, temperature here is T1, here again it's T1, so everywhere it's T1, so there is no temperature gradient in the y direction, so heat cannot flow in y direction. Whereas here also, in the right phase also, the temperature is constant along the y direction. There is no change in temperature along y direction, so there is no chance for the heat to flow in y direction. Maybe at the end the heat can flow, but more or less temperature gradient exists only in x direction and heat mainly flows in the x direction. So similarly we assume there is no temperature gradient in the z direction, so heat cannot flow in z direction. So this makes the heat flow one-dimensional. Also we assume that there is no heat generation, there is no heat source within that material. And another assumption is the material is having constant thermal conductivity. So we are taking one-dimensional steady-state heat conduction without heat generation through a slab. We already have that steady-state three-dimensional heat conduction equation with heat generation. So it's a steady state. We are taking steady state. Steady state means temperature is not changing with respect to time. This end of the slab is maintained at constant temperature throughout the time period. So initially it is T1, even at the end of 1 hour it's T1. If you can maintain the temperature constant with respect to time at any given location, you can say the heat transfer is steady state. So here also the temperature is maintained constant with respect to time. So there is no variation of temperature with respect to time at a given location. Then you can say heat transfer is a steady state. So we are taking one-dimensional steady state heat conduction through a slab with material having constant thermal conductivity. From this equation you can reduce to one-dimensional heat conduction equation without heat generation. So heat generation is not there, this term will vanish, and these two terms you can cancel because there is no variation of temperature with the y and z direction. So it is a one-dimensional steady state heat conduction without heat generation. So that gives del square T by del x square is equal to 0. Since the temperature is varying only with respect to x direction, you can replace this partial derivative with the total derivative. So you can write d square T by dx square is equal to 0. So this is a differential equation for one-dimensional steady state heat conduction through a slab with constant thermal conductivity and without any heat generation inside. Now after getting this governing equation, and also we know that boundary conditions, that is at x is equal to 0, t is equal to t1 and x is equal to L, t is equal to t2. These two boundary conditions we know, and we have that governing equation d square t by dx square is equal to 0. Now you can integrate this differential equation and apply the boundary conditions and solve it. You will get the temperature variation along the slab when the heat flows, and also you can find out the rate of heat transfer through this slab. Now integrating it once, you will get dt by dx is equal to c1, where c1 is a constant of integration, and again if you integrate it, you will get t is equal to c1x plus c2, and c2 is another constant of integration. Now we can apply the known boundary conditions. When x is equal to 0, temperature is T1, that is left phase. Since the y-axis is here, x is 0 here, x is L here, where L is the thickness of the slab. So applying that first condition, x is 0, T is equal to T1, putting x as 0 and substituting T as T1, you will get C2 as T1. So you are getting one of the constant of integration, C2 as T1. Now let us apply the second boundary condition. At x is equal to L, temperature is T2. Now from equation 2, that we have already got the equation for temperature is C1x plus C2, and C2 is also known, it is T1. So we have temperature T is equal to C1x plus T1. In that we are going to substitute x as L, corresponding temperature will be T2. So you will get T2 is equal to C1L plus T1. So T2 is equal to C1L plus T1. So from that you can solve C1 as T2 minus T1 by L. So replacing C1, we get temperature T is equal to T2 minus T1 by L, that is C1, x plus T1, that is C2 is T1. So this is a temperature variation within the material. It varies along the x direction. Along the x direction, the temperature varies like this. And since the temperatures are constant on either side and thickness is also constant, this term is constant. So you have a constant into x plus another constant. So this equation is in the form of a straight line. So the temperature variation within the material is linear or straight line variation. So this is when the material is having constant thermal conductivity. So this equation we have derived for one-dimensional steady state heat conduction through a material with constant thermal conductivity. So in that case we will have a linear variation for temperature inside. So the temperature will drop like this linearly. If heat is flowing in this direction, temperature should drop in that direction. Temperature difference should exist for the heat to flow. So if a heat flows in the forward direction, temperature T2 should be less than T1, and temperature drop is like this linear straight line variation. And using this equation you can find out the temperature at any point inside, any interior point. You can find out the temperature by substituting the distance from the left end of the slab. Now the heat transfer through the plane wall per unit time, so that you can find out, we have that Fourier law of heat conduction, Q is equal to minus K dt by dx, and we already know the temperature gradient. Temperature gradient is dt by dx is C1. Starting we got dt by dx as C1. So by integrating once, the governing equation d square t by dx square is equal to 0. By integrating that, dt by dx is equal to C1. And also meantime we got C1 as T2 minus T1 by L. So we know that C1 or temperature gradient within the slab as T2 minus T1 by L. So its temperature gradient is T2 minus T1 by L, because it's a linear variation for temperature. Temperature gradient we can take it as T2 minus T1 by L. So in this case it's very simple. We can easily understand that temperature gradient is T2 minus T1 by L. In some cases where material thermal conductivity is varying, the temperature gradient varies. It is not going to be a constant, it varies along the length of the material. But in this case temperature gradient is constant, and temperature gradient at the starting, at the end, all same. So T2 minus T1 by L is the average temperature gradient, or we are having a constant temperature gradient. Substituting for C1, we get taking the minus sign inside, you can write K into, and instead of T2 minus T1, now I can write T1 minus T2 divided by L. So taking that Ka to the denominator, you can write Q is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by L by Ak. Temperature difference T1 minus T2 divided by thickness of the slab divided by Ak, area of cross section, area normal to the direction of heat flow into thermal conductivity of the material. So L by Ak. So if you divide the temperature difference with the L by Ak, you will get the heat transfer, rate of heat transfer. This is heat transfer per unit time. Now you can also find out the heat transfer through a slab by direct integration. So we got it from the previous derivation. We can also find out from the by direct integration from the Fourier law. Fourier law of heat conduction is Q is equal to minus Ka dt by dx. Now Q dx is equal to minus Ka dt, integrating from 1 to 2, that is for the slab from left hand to right hand. Integral Q dx is equal to integral 1 to 2 minus Ka dt. Now Q is a constant, rate of heat flow is constant when it is a steady state process. Steady state temperature is not changing with respect to time, and the heat transfer also is going to be constant value. So Q is constant, you can take Q outside, integral dx will give x2 minus x1. So x2 minus x1 is, this is x2, this is x1. x1 is 0, x2 is L. So x2 minus x1 is L, x2 is L, x1 is 0. So you get QL minus K into K is constant, K is constant, A is constant. So I have taken minus K outside. Integral dt is T, and applying the limit 1 to 2, you get T2 minus T1. So minus sign you can take inside, change it to K into T1 minus T2. So QL is K into T1 minus T2, or Q is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by L by Ak. So you can rearrange this into this form. Q is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by L by Ak. Once again we are getting the same equation. We are not getting the temperature variation here, we are only getting the heat transfer. This is an alternate method to find out the heat conduction through slab. Now this one-dimensional steady state heat conduction through a material has resemblance to electrical circuit. Now electrical circuit, if you take, current is flowing in the electrical circuit and it requires a voltage difference, but in case of heat to flow, there should be a temperature gradient. So temperature difference should exist. Similar to voltage difference, temperature difference should exist for heat to flow. Similar to current, we have heat. So we can represent this in the form of an electrical circuit. Temperature on either side, T1 and T2, and L by Ak of that material. So here I put it as L1 by Ak1, or L1 by A1 K1 you can write if area is also different. So L by Ak of that material, the temperature difference divided by L by Ak will give Q. Similar to voltage difference divided by resistance gives current in the circuit, we have temperature difference divided by thermal resistance. L by Ak can be considered as thermal resistance for the material. Similar to electrical resistance, L by Ak is thermal resistance. So temperature difference divided by thermal resistance will give the heat flow in the circuit. So you can always represent the heat flow in a material by representing the equivalent circuit like this. Equivalent, similar to electrical circuit, we can draw a thermal circuit. Now we have considered the heat flow through a single material, steady state one dimensional heat conduction through a single material. Now if two materials are involved, adjacent two slabs are there, so they are having different thermal conductivity, but again we are considering the steady state one dimensional heat conduction through this composite layer of materials. This is a composite wall consisting of two different materials having thickness L1 and L2. How do you find out the heat flow? When it is a steady state process means temperature is not changing with respect to time. This phase we have temperature T1, so this temperature is constant with respect to time, it's not changing with respect to time. Similarly, temperature T2 at this junction is not changing with respect to time. This other end here also temperature is constant, but temperature variation exists along the x direction. So any system, if you leave for a longer period of time, it has to settle down to a steady state. So heat is flowing in the x direction. So it is a one-dimensional heat flow. We are considering one-dimensional heat flow. So heat is flowing in this direction. The heat conducted through this first material, it has to be equal to the heat conducted through the second material. So if suppose 10 watts is flowing through this, if only 8 watts flows through the second material, if 8 watts is flowing out, so there is a difference of 2 watts. 2 watts means 2 joules per second. If heat flow difference comes like this, the temperature of this junction should rise. That means it's not steady state. So when the temperature rises, if the junction temperature rises, the temperature difference within this material will increase, and more temperature difference, more amount of heat flow takes place and temperature will come down. So after some time, a steady state will be attained. So you should leave for a longer period of time. So leave it for a longer period of time, steady state will be attained. So we are considering the steady state heat conduction only. So not in the beginning, say maybe like in the beginning it will not be steady state, but after some time it will attain steady state, and when it reaches steady state we are considering the heat flow. In that case, the heat flowing through this material and heat flow through this material both will be equal. So Q1 is the heat flow through this and Q2 is the heat flow through this. Q1 has to be equal to Q2 and we can say it's equal to Q. So the heat flow through the first material and heat flow through the second material both are equal, and you can say it is equal to Q. So the heat flow through the first material, you can write, we already got the heat transfer through a single material as Q is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by L1 by AK1. A is common, this slab and second slab also, the area is common, so I am taking this A. Otherwise I should denote by A1. Q is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by L1 by AK1. Similarly, through the second material, second slab, we can write Q is equal to T2 minus T3 divided by L2 by AK2. So now temperature difference you can get. We have obtained Q is equal to T1 minus T2 divided by L1 by AK1. You can find out T1 minus T2. T1 minus T2 is Q into L1 by AK1. So that I have written here, T1 minus T2 is Q into L1 by AK1, and from this equation T2 minus T3 is Q into L2 by AK2. T2 minus T3 is Q into L2 by AK2. So I am getting the temperature difference in the first slab and temperature difference in the second slab. Now if you add these two equations, you get T2 minus T2 plus T2 cancels. You get T1 minus T3 on left hand side, and right hand side Q is common. You get Q into L1 by AK1 plus L2 by AK2. So from this you can solve for Q. Q is equal to T1 minus T3 divided by L1 by AK1 plus L2 by AK2. So Q you are getting T1 minus T3 divided by L1 by AK1 plus L2 by AK2. So three equations we already got for Q, as Q is T1 minus T2 divided by L1 by AK1. Again Q is equal to T2 minus T3 divided by L2 by AK2. And also we got Q is equal to T1 minus T3 divided by L1 by AK1 plus L2 by AK2. The difference in this equation is we have eliminated the interface temperature. Interface temperature is not coming in this. We are getting Q in terms of the temperature of the left hand and the temperature at the right hand. Interface temperature most of the time will not be known, and this equation has eliminated the interface temperature, and we are getting the heat transfer in terms of T1 and T3 and the material properties and geometry. Now this can be represented in the form of an electrical circuit. So this is a thermal circuit. T1, T2, in between the resistance is L1 by AK1, and T2 and T3, in between the resistance for conduction is L2 by AK2. So you can find out the temperature, say heat flowing through this Q as either T1 minus T2 divided by resistance between that, or T2 minus T3 divided by resistance between that, or T1 minus T3 divided by summation of the resistance. Now two resistance are coming. When you are taking this point T1 and T3, you have two resistance, so you should add up this. When you are taking T1 and T2, you have only one resistance. So T1 minus T2 divided by L1 by AK1, or T2 minus T3 divided by L2 by AK2, or T1 minus T3 divided by L1 by AK1 plus L2 by AK2, all gives the heat transfer Q. Let us work out a numerical example. A composite wall consists of three different layers. The thickness of the inner, middle and outer layers are 20 cm, 8 cm and 5 cm respectively. The thermal conductivities of inner, middle and outer layers are 65, 1.2 and 0.08 watts per meter Kelvin respectively. If the inner and outer surface temperatures are 340 degrees centigrade and 24 degrees centigrade, find the heat flow through the composite wall. So we have a composite wall with the thickness 20 cm, 8 cm and 5 cm, and with the thermal conductivity 65, 1.2 and 0.08 watts per meter Kelvin, and temperature on either side is given. You have to find out the heat flow. So we have a three layers of material. So we have already derived the equation for two layers. If one more layer comes, you will have one more term added like this. You can draw the heat flow circuit T1, T2, T3, T4, L1 by AK1, L2 by AK2, L3 by AK3. So if you want these 2 points to be taken, temperature difference between those 2 points, add the thermal resistance of the three materials. That will give the heat flow. So only two materials, T1 minus T3 divided by L1 by AK1 plus L2 by AK2 will give heat flow. Now temperature T1 is given. Temperature T1 is 340 degrees centigrade, and other end T4, we will take this T4 24 degrees centigrade. Thermal conductivities of all the three materials. First material 65, second material 1.2 and third material is 0.08 watts per meter Kelvin. So it's an insulator. Now thickness of the first layer is 20 cm, it's 0.2 meter, and the second layer is 8 cm or 0.08 meter, and third layer is 5 cm or 0.05 meter. We have the heat transfer through the composite wall as T1 minus T4 divided by L1 by AK1 plus L2 by AK2 plus L3 by AK3. Now we can substitute that temperatures, direct substitution. Once you know the formula, direct substitution you can make. T1 is 340 degrees centigrade, T4 is 24 degrees centigrade. So L1 by AK1 is, L1 is 0.2, 20 cm is 0.2, area is unit area. Area is not given, so per unit area you should find out the heat flow. Thermal conductivity is 65. Second layer, the thickness is 8 centimeter or 0.08 meter. Again, area is taken as unit and the thermal conductivity is 1.2 watts per meter Kelvin. Third layer 5 centimeter is 0.05 and area is 1 and thermal conductivity is 0.08 watts per meter Kelvin. So substituting that, you will get the rate of heat flow as 454.844 watts. So this is per unit area of the composite wall. Per meter square area, the wall permits 454.844 watts. So every second per unit area of this composite wall will permit 454.844 joules. If you have to find out the heat flow for a longer period of time, that is for 1 hour, you should multiply with the time period, that is 3600 seconds. That will give the heat flow permitted by this composite wall in 1 hour. Thank you for watching.